Welcome guys. So first off, I want to say thank you for clicking on the video and checking out something new that I'm going to be putting on, which is long-term investment opportunities, where I just do a short video where I go over a few key topics and try to keep them simple and understandable for beginners. So I don't want to, have this be like a long DD video where I end up spending hours talking about a long-term investment opportunity, but I do want it to kind of give you guys an overview of my thoughts on these long-term stocks. So first things first, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel so you can see the rest of these when I keep putting them out, and then also comment a stock that you want to see me do a long-term dive just like this into on my next video or one in the future. So today we're going to be talking about Ford. If you guys know me, you know that, I don't drive a Ford. I don't drive a truck, obviously. But I am a big fan of the Ford stock. And we're going to talk about why. And I'm going to start with technicals, and then we're going to get into some fundamental stuff. But technicals, you guys can see here a very clear head and shoulders. We have a shoulder that topped right around 1630. And then we have a head that topped around 26 or 2580, and then the other shoulder topped about 1660. So what does that lead us? It leads us to more downside, which in my opinion is going to be a great buying opportunity for Ford long term. And I have this line set in here at 891. We're going to come back to this later. But as of this week, we're touching the 200 MA on the weekly. It's bouncing pretty heavily with the markets, but this head and shoulders is likely to send this through the 200 MA. And once it gets through, I think it's fair to start scaling in, and I think the last scale in should be right near this 891. And let's talk about this 891. Let me flip to the fundamentals really quickly. 891 is the cash per share. So essentially what that means is that 891 Ford is essentially trading at cash. If it trades below that, it would mean that everyone is basically equaling their business as worth negative. And I think that is very, very unfair for the turn that Ford is taking right now. So 891 is the final scale in for me. I think below this 200 and above this 891 level is a perfect buy zone. But let's go back and look at more of the fundamentals. So Ford has a market cap of 47 billion and they have income of 11.6 billion. What does that put their price to earnings at? 4 exactly. That's a great PE ratio for a company as big as Ford, and a company that has a future like Ford does. Their sales are 148 billion. I'll just let that sink in for a second. So that puts their price to sales ratio at 0.3. That is a large amount of sales. And they've also been increasing their sales every single, quarter, year, recently at least. There have been some bumps in the road in the past. Here's that cash per share, 1091. They have a dividend, 5% dividend. Here's where we get into the interesting thing that I need to address is the debt to equity ratio, essentially just the debt that Ford has. And I think there's a really interesting angle here that I personally have as an investor who is bullish on Ford. And that is that recently, in 2020, they had to take on some extra debt, but then they got an extremely, extremely smart and intelligent CEO in Jim Farley take over. And you can see this debt. You can see what it's been doing since 9/30/2020. It had a bit of a, 12/31 actually was the peak after it started to decrease again. So basically peaked, dipped, peaked again, and then now we've been on a steady decrease for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quarters. So I think personally that Jim Farley has been handed a perfect opportunity to actually decrease Ford's debt, which has been a pain in the ass in the past. And so I think that Ford, is in a great opportunity or a great spot, for them to basically handle their debt. And if we go back to here, handling their debt will give them a better opportunity as well to increase their income per year, per quarter, and that puts their PE ratio at even less. So I think that that Ford right now financially is becoming smarter than they were in the past. They're becoming a bit more savvy, and they're finding ways to decrease that debt. They're finding ways to tighten their debt to equity ratio. which is something that you want to see. You want to see that trend in the company. And then here are the other things I really want to talk about. So Ford, their sales are up 16% as of today in the third quarter, despite September decline. So September, there was a decline, but they've still been very, very strong this quarter. So they sold 142,000 vehicles, which is a 9% decline from last September, but they're still up 16% in the third quarter. That's huge. That is massive, guys. That is just extremely, extremely bullish. And then here's another. I'm going to flip over to this. Their Ford Lightning is probably going to be one of the best electric trucks on the market for the price. Obviously, they're going to be competing with Tesla's Cybertruck, the Rivian truck. But I think we all kind of have an idea of who might have better footing in America and what is a proven truck that has been the best-selling truck for years and years and years and years. But let's just talk about the statistics. You don't need opinions. You need statistics for going long-term. Let's see this. So the Ford Lightning was not lasting long on dealer lots. The turnaround time of 8 days. It beats the Bronco and the Maverick. Blah, 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 blah. So the Ford Lightning helped surge the automaker's EV sales figures to over 300% growth year over year in August. So 2 months ago in August, over 300% year over year. That's just going to keep growing as they're able to push their electric vehicles on the markets. I personally am also a really big fan of kind of the generic conservative approach they've taken on their vehicles. We've seen Tesla, they have some conservative looking vehicles, and then they have some extremely, crazy business plan, which that's what I mean when I say conservative. I mean like business plan conservative wise. Tesla has some crazy looking vehicles. And so I did pull up the fleet so we can talk about the Mustang. Mustang is Mustang. Here are the electrified. So they have the Maverick, which is a great small size truck. I actually know somebody who has one, and it's actually pretty fucking nice. We have the Escape, just a SUV. The F-150 Lightning. Wait, no, this is just the F-150, which is the hybrid. Nice. Escape plug-in hybrid, looks the exact same as this one. All electric Ford F-150 Lightning. That is going to be a money maker. The Mustang Mach-E, I've seen a few of those. They're actually pretty nice looking. And then this Transit, that's going to be big as well. And then here are just their trucks and vans. This is all the classic trucks, the Ranger, Super Duty, F-150, all that kind of stuff. And then we have obviously their SUVs and crossovers, the new Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, EcoSport, Explorer Edge, blah, 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 blah. They're going to bring back the Raptor. They're going to have the Tremor. They have the Mustang. They have the Super Duty. And then all these performance vehicles. But personally, just overall, I really think that the F-150 Lightning is going to be massive for them, as in pushing a truck out that is as affordable and popular as the F-150, and then having it all electric is massive. And if you guys, we can just flip back to this. The debt ratio, as they sell more trucks, they're going to be able to pay off more debt. They're going to be able to have more revenue per quarter. They're going to have a better PE ratio. And usually the price will go up with that. And so what we're kind of looking for, obviously, that I spoke about earlier, is we're looking for this Head and Shoulders to work its way down to to cash per share. Cash per share is almost a perfect area to be averaged in on a stock like Ford. And also, the other thing is there's a lot of people who are bearish on Ford because they're bullish on Tesla. I'm bullish long-term on both of them. I think they're both going to have a spot, but I do think that Ford has a larger growth opportunity here as the electric vehicles start to, become, I guess, forced upon. And, there's incentives to get electric vehicles. So I think Ford has a massive opportunity here. And I think that Jim Farley is going to take full advantage of that. He's already begun. They're rolling out F-150 Lightnings. They're rolling out the Mach-E's. They're doing a great job. So I'm bullish on it. like I said, I'm going to start scaling in under this 200 MA, which the 200 MA is sitting right about 1120. Under 1120, I'll have probably 4 points. I'll scale in probably $11, 10.50, and then like 9.50, and then $9 will be my 4 scale, and something along those lines. But I highly recommend you guys do a little more DD on your own. Decide if you like it, and if you do, jump in. If you don't, drop why you're thinking maybe this isn't the right play for you. I want to hear about it. I like opportunities to talk to people of differing opinions on this kind of stuff. But I'm very bullish on Ford. I think I did a pretty decent job of giving you guys a few reasons why. If you guys like these videos, obviously, give me a like, a subscribe, comment, like I said, what you want to see me talk about in the future, stocks wise, and I'll get on making more of these videos because we're at a very interesting, dip opportunity to load up on the IRA with stuff like Ford, Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, names like that, and even some smaller names, SoFi, AMTX, that kind of stuff. So let's talk about it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you very much, and have a good night.